Mark with Think Insurance, and today we're going to answer a unique question: is if car insurance will cover your trailer? And to be short about the answer, yes and no. There's situations where your car insurance will actually cover a trailered vehicle. Let's go into a little bit more in depth and go over some of the scenarios to where this could and couldn't be a fit for you. I'm just finished my energy drink, so hopefully it kicks in. I am low on these. I need some more. Thumbs up if you guys find this interesting. I'd love a subscribe if you find this something that is beneficial to you. Let's dive right in. So there's two ways you can purchase insurance. You can have just your truck insurance or your car insurance or whatever the case is, and you can also buy an insurance policy on a trailer. I always recommend getting the separate one because if it has a VIN number, if it has its own frame, then it's likely you should be insuring it for a few reasons. And we'll dive into those reasons in a moment. However, if you are going to trailer the trailer on a vehicle, anything now is directly connected onto your vehicle. Because insurance, what they do is they say they'll cover things that are bolted to your vehicle. If you have a stereo system and it's bolted down to the car, it's part of the car. It's just part of the insurance. And there are some gray areas to where they would and wouldn't cover some of those if you have $5,000 worth of stereo equipment, and that's a different scenario. The trailer itself is technically bolted to the car because it locks. It goes on the ball hook, locks, and that creates almost a permanent temporary connection. Kind of a weird way to say it, but what's going to happen is while it's connected to your vehicle, you are insuring the trailer. Now let's put an asterisk to that, because don't come and sue me because I said that. It's only partially. You're covering the liability of the trailer, not the contents or the trailer itself. If the trailer was to swing out and hit another vehicle, that's where that liability is going to kick in. Your car insurance is going to pay whatever your liability limits are. Bodily injury, property damage, your policy coverage. If it falls off the truck or the vehicle and it swings around and hits somebody else, it's no longer part of your vehicle. It's not permanently bolted to the car or truck. And now that liability isn't covered. So there's the major risk that you're going to take if you're going to not insure the trailer itself. Here is the weird part: is sometimes the insurance company is going to back you up and cover that scenario. They technically don't have to, because the guidelines show that that's no longer a thing. Just like if a tree were to fall and then it bounced off the ground and hit your car, that's considered a collision, not a comprehensive. Different video. That's scenarios that could happen because it's in motion now. If the trailer falls off your hitch and starts bouncing around the road, it's no longer part of that insured vehicle. Here's where you want to have your own separate policy. I get it, it's an extra cost, you don't want to do it, but if you've got a four-wheeler in the trailer, if you've got a boat on the trailer, or whatever the case is, yes, the boat might have its own insurance policy, and great, that's fine, but the trailer itself would need to be added to that policy. Most cases, adding a boat policy and then adding the trailer onto the boat policy is fine. But if it's an actual enclosed trailer, a larger vehicle where you have animals or you have whatever you have in it, the insurance policy for your truck isn't going to cover that. That's where you're going to want to purchase its own separate policy. If you're camping, for example, and you just don't happen to have insurance on it for whatever reason, while the vehicle is attached, if you park the vehicle, you park the motorhome or the camper, and then you have the vehicle still attached to it, it's still part of the liability of the car or the truck. And so you are still covered in that scenario for the liability. Contents, once again, are not covered. Anything that happens is not technically covered, although it does sideline fall into home insurance a little bit, because if you have renters or home insurance, your contents are covered outside of your home. So if somebody were to steal your laptop out of the trailer, technically you could go after your home insurance for that. If in the scenario where we're talking about you're renting a trailer or a U-Haul, then just know nothing's covered, because you're now having that policy on a commercial. So home and auto exclude commercial scenarios. You're commercializing and purchasing and renting a commercial vehicle, and you're loading it with your contents. If you don't purchase the additional insurance through the U-Haul or through the company that you're going through, then most likely that insurance that you have is not going to cover this. Same scenario if you're renting a vehicle to put your four-wheeler on and you're renting it from U-Haul or wherever and you put it on your truck, the liability still stays there, but the actual contents and whatever that case is no longer there. So we're talking about two different scenarios. If you're moving, that's more of a commercial piece. If you're just moving a snowmobile or whatever the case is, you're not doing it for a job. You're not doing it for profit business. It's just your personal moving, and you're just going to go to the sand dunes with a dune buggy, but you needed a trailer. You rent the trailer, you should purchase some sort of insurance on that. Hopefully this clears up the majority of the scenarios. If it was helpful, let me know your comments below if you've had a scenario similar to this. Have you had one way or the other, and what your thoughts are on that coverage overall? It is going to make sense to have its own policy. Boats and motorcycles usually have an option to add the trailers to them, so you don't have to buy a separate trailer policy. And trailers, if you just in general need to have them insured, you typically want to have them covered for when they're standing alone. Let me know your comments below. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.